Malaysia's rising inflation exceeded market expectations in June as food prices accelerated by 6.1% year-on-year. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, the Consumer Price Index rose 3.4% last month from a year earlier after climbing by 2.8% year-on-year in May. That's slightly above the 3.2% rise forecast by the market. Core inflation, an indicator closely watched by Bank Negara, jumped to a 6-year high, rising 3.0%. That's the highest point since March 2016. According to Chief Statistician Datuk Sri Dr. Muhammad Uzair Mahidin, food prices aside, increases were recorded in other segments, including transport 5.4% and restaurants and hotels 5%. He added that prices of chicken, which has the largest weightage in the meat subgroup, jumped by 17.2% compared with an increase of 13.4% in May. Meanwhile, the price increase for the transport group was largely due to the rise in the average price of RON97 by 80% to RM4.77 per litre compared with RM2.65 in the same month the previous year. HSBC said in a report that the 3.0% jump in core inflation reflected an ongoing recovery in the labour market, thanks to tailwinds from Malaysia's economic reopening. Economist Yun Liu said the country's inflation should rise by around 4% on average in the second half of the year, well above Bank Negara's full-year forecast range of 2.2% to 3.2%. She added the lender expects the central bank to raise rates for the remaining 2 meetings this year, each by 25 basis points, bringing the overnight policy rate to 2.75% by end 2022. The price of bottled cooking oil at the retail level has fallen in line with the decline in crude palm oil or CPO prices. Datuk Sri Alexander Nantalinggi, who is the Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister, said he was informed during a field visit to the premises of a wholesaler in Cebu today that a 5-kilogram bottle of cooking oil was being sold at a retail price of RM39 versus RM45 last month. He said this price drop of 13% is just the beginning, as market projections indicate that the pattern of price downturn due to the CPO effect will continue. He noted the CPO price had fallen to RM3,814 per tonne on Thursday, a level last seen in July 2021. In March, the price of the commodity had reached a record high of RM8,076 per tonne. He also warned against attempts to delay the lowering of the price of bottled cooking oil on the basis of clearing old stocks. Citing a previous simulation by his ministry, he said the current CPO price of RM3,814.50 should result in a retail price of around RM30.65 for a 5-kilogram bottle of cooking oil. Petronas is reportedly forecast to contribute as much as RM59 billion this year to the government, which is expecting to spend a record RM77.3 billion in subsidies and cash aid in 2022 to help the public tackle inflation. According to a Reuters report, Datuk Sri Mustafa Mohamad said this in a statement to Parliament published today. The Minister in the Prime Minister's Department Economy reportedly expects contribution from Petronas to total about RM55 billion to RM59 billion, a sum that includes dividends, taxes, petroleum cash payments and export duties. Last year, it contributed RM48.2 billion to Putrajaya. The estimates were based on Petronas's projections, with the assumption that Brent crude oil prices remain at $100.03, about RM445.41 a barrel, and that production remains uninterrupted throughout the year. It is also reportedly projecting a total profit after tax of between RM75 billion and RM80 billion this year. AMMB Holdings says it is not in talks with any parties about the disposal of its interest in its wholly owned asset management unit, AmInvest. It said in an emailed statement that it is not in any such talks and that any pertinent announcements will be made in accordance with listing requirements. AMMB was said to be weighing a sale of its asset management unit that could be valued at as much as $300 million, about RM1.3 billion. Citing people with knowledge knowledge of the matter, Bloomberg reported that the group has been approached by other industry players and private equity firms, which have expressed interest in AmInvest. The People reportedly said the deal could value the unit at between $250 million and $300 million. They said considerations are at an early stage and there is no guarantee that AMMB will proceed with the sale. According to its website, AmInvest is the brand name for AMMB's fund management business, comprising M Funds Management and M Islamic Funds Management. The firm has over 40 years of investing experience, with total assets under management of about 47.6 billion ringgit as of the end of March. Ex-President and Group MD of Bank Pembangunan Malaysia, Datuk Muhammad Zafir Muhammad Hashim, has passed away in London. Muhammad Zafir was most recently in the news as one of the defendants in a legal action initiated by the lender over a 400 million ringgit loan granted to Aries Telecoms Malaysia. Approved in May 2012, the 400 million ringgit loan was to partly finance a 1.3 billion ringgit project undertaken by Aries to install a fibre optic network around Peninsular Malaysia. A lawyer close to the case informed The Edge of his passing. Muhammad Zafir's career began with Pricewaterhouse in London. He was previously CFO of Maybank Investment Bank and Bank Muamalat Malaysia, prior to which he was attached to MMC Corporation as a general manager. His directorship in firms within the Bank Pembangunan Group included being a director of Global Maritime Ventures. He also sat on the board of Malaysia Bulk Carriers and independent non-profit technology think tank MITE.